Everybody good? Good afternoon and welcome to this council meeting for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. It is March 27th, 2024. It is 5 p.m. I will ask our clerk, Tara, to get us started.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. I would ask if there is any declaration of pecuniary interest from council. I see nothing at this time. We have two meetings to adopt the draft minutes. Our March 13th regular meeting. Did council see any errors, omissions in that? We also have the March 20th budget meeting. Anything from that meeting? The agenda contained the minutes. I see no corrections required, so the minutes will be drafted as presented to council in the agenda. Clerk Tara, is there any items not listed on the agenda?
We do have one additional piece of correspondence that came in this week, and it is for zoning bylaw amendment 0923 for 1 Lyons Road.
Okay, thank you. We are on to item 5 on our agenda, the drainage department, and Brent, I'll ask you to come up. And item A is the tender results of the Brown drain. Everyone has had a chance to look at that. Brent, do you have anything to add further to that report?
No, not at this time.
Okay, anything from council? Looks good. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Droulard, that council award Timmermans Farm Drainage Limited the contract for the construction of the Brown Drain in the amount of $122,422.79 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item B, the tender results of the Donald Lumley drain. Anything further to add, Brent?
Favorable results here as well.
Yeah, I see that. Any questions from council? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Droulard, seconded by Loveland, that council award Van Bree Drainage and Bulldozing Limited the contract for the construction of the Donald Lumley Drain in the amount of $138,550 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you for that. And our last one is the tender results of the Lucas drain. We have that in front of us. Anything further to add, Brent?
Just this one went a little over the engineer's estimate, and as you can see, it's also a little over, closer to 10% over on the township's portion, and the overall tender was 6% over. So
I'm sure our treasurer has taken note of that. Anything from council? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that council award AG Hayter Contracting Limited the contract for the construction of the Lucas Drain in the amount of $252,978 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we can deal with one item in the planning department, and that's item A. A request to repeal the heritage designation for 29480 Fingal Line by Victoria Spencer. We have our planner, Tracy, with us. Tracy, I'll let you speak to that one.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the members of council. So the report before you is with respect to a repeal of an existing heritage designation. The owner of the property requested in writing that the heritage designation be repealed. So council did receive that letter and forwarded it to the Heritage Committee. And just to give you a little bit of background, this particular property was designated in 2017 by council. Several appeals were received based on that intent to designate, and it went to the Conservation Review Board, or CRB for short. That appeal was then withdrawn following a pre-hearing, which included some negotiations with respect to the wording of the draft bylaw. Then in 2019, the designation bylaw came before council. It was approved. A plaque was posted on the property by the Heritage Committee, and the bylaw was registered against the title of the property. So the purpose of this report is just to outline your options and how you can move forward with this request. So one of the requirements is that council does consult with your Heritage Committee. The Heritage Committee did, let me even go back, sorry. The reasons for the request for the repeal by the owner, there were 5 points. So in summary, the owner felt that the home could be protected without the designation, that there was no funding assistance for the repairs. There were some challenges with the insurance coverage, impacts on marketability. The owner is trying to sell the house and was having some challenges finding a purchaser. And then undue financial burdens and restrictions are placed on a designation. So although that there had been no changes in the building, the property owner noted that they would request a complete reevaluation and then possibly some alternative solutions to designation. So under the Ontario Heritage Act, an owner has the opportunity to apply for a repeal of a bylaw that is applied to their property. For instances, some reasons would be that the building had been relocated or demolished or removed because of some natural reasons. And in order to remove it from the designation, council must repeal that designation and remove that bylaw from the legal title of the land. And we also have to inform the municipal and the provincial registries for the property that needs to be updated. So when an owner does request a repeal, again, council has to consult with your Heritage Committee, which you did. They met on March 12th, and they provided the attached letter with some supporting document. And in summary, the Heritage Committee's position is that there are many properties that have a designation and are kept protected, which is the intent of the Heritage Act. Insurance companies are willing to insure heritage properties. The resale value is not negatively impacted in their opinion. And the purpose of the heritage designation is to protect these resources. And in this particular case, there were tests and evaluations back in 2017, and it did meet all of the tests. So the Heritage Committee's recommendation to you as council is to refuse the request to repeal the designation. So this is what happens then for your next steps. If council were to support the recommendation of the Heritage Committee, the repeal process to refuse would be first, council makes the decision. You have a 90-day window. So we are still within that window from their February letter. We do a notice of decision to refuse the repeal. It's served to the property owner. It's given to the Ontario Heritage Trust, and it's put in the newspaper. There is a 30-day appeal, so the owner could appeal to, now it's called the Ontario Land Tribunal, or OLT for short, and they could hear the appeal. So the applicant can certainly put forward some evidence on why they think that the heritage designation should be repealed. Regarding specifically the insurance coverage, administration has provided a letter in the past to this property owner with respect to insurance purposes. It outlines that, you know, if in case of an emergency or destruction, they're not required to replace exact, that there is some flexibility on replacement value and replacement items. But administration could provide a more detailed insurance letter to the owner. They had suggested in a previous letter that they would like to see a copy of the bylaw and they would like a little bit more explanation. And that I've been able to work with other heritage planners in the region to help provide some additional information that might help as well. But that's something council can direct tonight as well. So before you is the following recommendation: is that you receive the report, that you refuse the request to repeal, and that you direct administration to provide a revised letter for insurance purposes. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you for that report, Tracy, and I'll ask council, do you have any questions? No. Well-written report, Tracy, no questions. Okay, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Request to Repeal the Heritage Designation for 29480 Fingal Lime by Victoria Spencer, dated March 27th, 2024, for information. And that council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich refuse the request to repeal the heritage designation of 29480 Fingal Lime, and that council direct administration to provide Victoria Spencer with a revised letter for insurance purposes. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. In the planning part of the agenda here, we have to wait till 5:30, so we'll go ahead and deal with some correspondence at this time with council's permission. The first one is the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority legislative and regulatory changes affecting Conservation Authority development permitting. I've asked Brent to speak to the drainage aspect of this, if you will.
So I have seen a draft letter of what's going to come out dealing with drainage specifically. And what has changed, one thing that's changed significantly is under the CA regulation, a water course used to be an identified depression in the ground in which flow of water regularly or continuously occurs. That could have been a grassed waterway, and water flows regularly in a grassed waterway in some seasons of the year. It's now being defined as a channel having a bed and banks or sides in which a flow of water regularly or continuously flows. Wetlands going to be 30 meters away, including provincially significant wetlands. Some conservation authorities had larger distances. And there's going to be exceptions for certain low risk activities for permits. So almost all the drain maintenances that I do in open ditches would be classed low risk because I'm not doing any work near wetlands. And that's where the permit should be issued. But conservation authorities, we operate under the DART protocol that gives us a bunch of policies on how we're supposed to proceed to clean open drains environmentally to minimize the effects. And there's a significant list that were called low risk, and most of those activities were away from wetlands. Conservation authorities chose to also issue permits for those low risk activities, even though it was advised in the protocol that they need not. So this is going to reduce costs on maintenances on open ditches by about $150 or more, depending on the complexity of the project, and on new drains as well, because they don't have the authority to issue a permit anymore. The other what hasn't changed though is they still want to know that we're doing work in an open ditch, and that's fair. That way, if a neighboring landowner calls, at least they're going to have some knowledge, the people involved are going to have some knowledge at the CA that we are out there doing work. And they will still review to see if there is concerns that a permit is required. But their hands are pretty tied on where they cannot give advice now anyways. So that's basically the big change. And I did comment back that on this draft letter, and I think it's been confirmed that conservation authorities weren't going to shift and start charging a fee to review a DART form instead of just issuing a permit. Don't know whether that would be allowed or disallowed in the new regulation because it's not a permit, but I had heard rumors that some CDs were looking at issuing a fee for review. So positive for our drainage community. But with the fee gone, there's still going to be exercising staff time to review the the notices. And that's going to come out of the general levy now, as it did years ago. So that cost is going to change. It's going to be carried by the entire tax roll instead of just the drainage community that was requiring the service. So that's the change.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Not really a question, just a kind of a comment. The Conservation Authority, like all the rest of them in Ontario, have very short time frame to get these new policies in place. I think they've got to be approved by April 1st. So I sit on that Conservation Authority board, and we're looking at all those policies tomorrow. It's they've had to really work hard to get everything ready for April 1st. So there may be a few things that, and of course, some of the rules that they set down weren't as well thought of as they had hoped they were. So there may be some changes once we get going with this, but it should be, hopefully be approved at tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah, there has been lots of meetings going on because I've been involved in a few of them on other issues dealing with this. But yeah, I think this will be helpful.
Anything further from council? Thanks for explaining that, Brent. I've read it so many times, but your explanation makes more sense to me.
Hopefully.
Drainage for dummies?
Right.
Drainage for dummies?
Yep. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that correspondence items 7A from the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority be received and filed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. Item B, the Municipality of Powassan Municipal Equipment Operators Course. Everyone has seen that. Any comments or questions? Nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Municipality of Powassan calling upon the Ministry of Labor, Training, Immigration, and Skilled Trades to fully fund the Municipal Equipment Operator course in 2024 through the Skills and Development Fund, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, the Municipality of Powassan, and the Township of Puss Lynch. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item C, the Township of Amaranth Operational Budget Funding. Any comments from council on that one? Interesting. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drouillard, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Township of Amaranth calling upon the Province of Ontario to treat all municipalities fairly and provide equivalent representative operational budget funding amounts to all Ontario municipalities, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Township of Amaranth. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item D, the Ontario Provincial Police, a request for in-kind assistance to repair the rope on the flagpole at the Dutton Detachment. Council, any comments or a small ask, I think. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves the in-kind request from the OPP for 2 staff and the bucket truck for 1 hour in the amount of $230.98 to repair the rope on the existing flagpole at the Dutton OPP detachment. All in favor? And that's carried.
And item E, and he is with us tonight, Kelsey McConnell, a safety event participation request. Kelsey, do you want to add to your letter? Sure. We'll hear you out.
Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Yeah, so I'm asking for time for one person and the grader for July 6th. It is a safety event, as I said in the letter. Me and Chris, I cannot pronounce his last name, I do apologize. Thank you. For memory of his son, he wanted to start a quad and ATV safety thing, and we used to do it back in high school, a safety day. So I said, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it. So we have a lot of people partnering, a lot of people that are happy to be a part of this. Full Line's coming out with a tractor, some quads. Fire department's bringing a propane tray out. Salis is donating fire extinguishers. They're going to bring the firehouse out to shoot water. I've asked the OPP. I still have to talk to St. John's, but there's other stuff like construction equipment being brought. Hoping Niagara's brings out some grain safety, just as many things as we can think. I'm hoping the Optimist can do bike rodeo as well as bring their trailer out. I do have to pander to the lines. I haven't got in yet, but soon enough. So we're just trying to make this an event geared towards safety. I think we're going to be calling it kind of a touch the truck event, because if you do kind of call it a safety thing, I don't think the kids will be interested in it. So if you kind of call it something else, but keep safety in the forefront, it'll be more of, you know, a hit with it. And it's just something for people to do as well. Interactive exhibits. Oh, and I should mention the McCombs are bringing out a combine as well. Just a way that we can get some kids out, learn about some stuff that, you know, as we all know, we're from a farming community, but you have these newer kids coming in that are from the city, go out and see their friends out in the country, don't know what they're looking at, something can go definitely wrong. So thank you.
Okay. Well, he's in front of you, Council. Any questions for Kelsey?
I remember it not the last time.
Okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drillard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves a request for participation in a safety day event at the Wallstown Fairgrounds on July 6, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., including 1 grader, 1 staff, and any available pylons or construction barrels in the amount of $621.06. All in favor? And that's carried.
Appreciate you guys.
And one more.
Moved by Drillard, seconded by Loveland, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. It is still not 5:30, so we'll carry on with the consent agenda. And there are 3 items. The Bacchus Page House Museum 2023 Activities Report, the Elgin Area Primary Water Supply System, the 2023 Compliance Report, and the Bacchus Page House Museum, a press release, 30th anniversary for Tyrconnell Heritage Society. Does council wish to comment on any of those items? You see nothing? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
We'll carry on. We have our CAO Treasurer's Report, and item A is the Fire Chief Shared Service Agreement and Appointment. I'll hand that over to our CAO Treasurer.
Through
Tracy.
you, Mr. Mayor. So this is just formally appointing Jeff as our fire chief. Colin gave his notice on November 21st and his last day was in December. So we did have Jeff as the interim, and we've now worked with West Elgin and Southold to come up with an agreement to share the services for fire chief 3 ways. So the agreement was attached, and we're just looking for approval for the mayor and clerk to sign this agreement and appoint Jeff as our fire chief. Is there any questions?
Okay. I think council is quite happy with that turn of events. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulart, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Fire Chief Shared Services Agreement and Appointment dated March 27th, 2024 for information, and that council appoint Jeff MacArthur as the Dutton Dunwich Fire Chief, and that council authorize the clerk and mayor to sign a shared services agreement between Southwold, West Elgin, and Dutton Dunwich for the appointment and use of a shared fire chief. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And we will go to item B, the Community Safety and Policing Act. There's an update there. Tracy, do you wish to speak to that?
Yeah, so councils were notified of this change coming in March of 2021. So it's now becoming effective April 1st. So we all have to agree on the terms of the condition, the terms of this appointment to the board and the salary and who the representative would be. So we got together, and West Elgin and Southold and ourselves share a citizen rep. So we decided we'll just keep things status quo, and we'll update the board on that, and then we'll work together over the next until the end of this term to see how we want to start doing this appointment for a citizen. So if there's any questions.
Have we reached out to Ida?
Yeah, she's fine with staying. So so we've decided she'll stay until the end of this council term. And then by then we will have decided whether there's going to be a new application form or, so with the province, we all have to agree on the salary that they get paid. We all have to agree on the, how they're going to be appointed, or the province will step in. So we thought we'd play nice and just keep things status quo without the province stepping in. So.
Okay. Anything further from council on that one? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulart, seconded by Lublin, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 update, dated March 27, 2024 for information, and that council approve the current community representative until the end of the current council term, and that before the end of the current council term, Southwold, West Elgin, and Dutton Dunwich will work together to develop a new application appointment process for the community representative position, and that council approved no change in current community representative remuneration, and that council approved that all operation costs be allocated equally between participating municipalities. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. We're awful close to 5:30, so I'm not going to go into anything else. But I would like to take about a 3 or 4 minute break, and then we'll go right back into our public meetings with council's blessing.
We headed home by 5:30.
We got 2 minutes.
Oh.
Okay, everybody good to go? Okay, you're up, Tara.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 23 filed by Dutton and District Lions Nonprofit Housing Incorporated for property located at 1 Lions Road opens at 5:31 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. This is a public meeting as required by Section 34 of the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject property from exception village residential 2-1 VR2-1 zone to exception village residential 2.5 VR2-5 zone, and to further amend the exception village residential 2.1 VR2-1 zone. The subject property is locally known as 1 Lions Road in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning the proposals? See none. To Clerk Tara, what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
A sign was posted on the subject property by the March 8th, 2024 deadline, and notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property on March 6th, 2024.
Thank you. I will now introduce our planner, Tracy, if you're with us.
Yes, thank you very much. Just wanted
Okay.
to,
Present your report, please.
thank you very much. So it's a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by the property owners. It was a condition of severance, E7223, from the land division of the county of Elgin, which was approved conditionally with no appeals received. There is one existing retirement home located on the subject property and some additional structures accessory to the main use. Access to the property is currently from Lyons Street. The property has full municipal services. So the purpose of the application before you is a zoning bylaw amendment as a condition of severance. So sort of making sure that we highlight the key that the proposed severed parcel has the future 33-unit retirement facility. Now that future facility is subject to site plan control. So prior to the issuance of a building permit, that will include a technical review of the site, including landscaping, servicing, drainage, lighting, signage, and so on. The applicant is then going to retain the existing retirement facility. And what we're asking for, the purpose of application is because of the severance, they are asking for a reduction in the rear yard of the existing building. And then for the new building, they're asking for an increase in height. So those are the only two things that council is considering during this application. So the notice was sent out to property owners and commenting agencies and departments. So the only department comments I wanted to highlight is that building questioned whether the fire department can confirm that there's equipment, and the fire department responded that they were going to confirm if there was apparatus to carry a 35-foot ladder. Didn't get any response from that, but they did expect that they had it, but they just needed to check. There was one letter received from property owner at 11054 Miller Road, which is received at the time of writing of this report. And there was one letter received after the writing of this report. So it's important that council make sure that you receive those. So with respect to the policy review, again, we're just dealing with height and rear yard. The provincial policy statements encourage growth within a settlement area, which this is located in a existing built-up area. The county OP does encourage various forms of residential intensification and encourages an increase in density. The town OP also provides for a diverse range of housing types and densities. And then specifically to the zoning, as mentioned, it's currently zoned VR2-1. So it was a site-specific zoning that allowed for the senior citizen dwelling or an apartment building specific to this property. So it is already a current use to have an apartment building. Now the VR2-1 also allowed some very specific requirements like buffering, parking, access. So what I'm proposing is that all of those existing restrictions go with the new building because they mainly apply to Miller Road access and a buffer strip from existing residents to the west. And then a brand new zone is going to be prepared for the old building, and it's going to maintain the parking requirement, and it's going to add in that request to reduce the rear yard from 7.5 to 5.432. And the only property that impacts that is the new residential apartment. So the report outlines all of the requirements for the zoning for both the proposed severed and the proposed retained. And I've illustrated how it complies to all of the other requirements, again, except for maximum height for the severed and the rear or west side for the existing building. So the requests are considered appropriate and minor. So administration recommends that the zoning bylaw be approved. However, take into consideration those concerns of building and fire. Again, concerns regarding water, wastewater, sewage, safety, lighting, fencing, replanting of the trees, those are all a technical requirement as part of site plan control. And administration is still in the process of reviewing all of those support studies. Again, site plan control has been delegated to the CAO by the government. So a report will not come back to council for site plan control approval. That will be held at an administrative level. Now for the zoning bylaw amendment, a final decision in the bylaw will be passed this evening. Then there is a 20-day appeal period. So anybody receiving or requesting a notice can appeal your decision, including any of the neighbors. Now with respect to the additional letter that was received, there were 13 points that were mentioned. And in summary, the majority of the concerns were about use, which is not part of this application because again, the use is permitted. And the other concerns were site plan control related, very technical, which we will deal with at administrative level. So I'm happy to answer any questions that council might have at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you for your report, Tracy. Clerk Tara, have you received any comments from staff?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Did you receive any written submissions on this application?
Yes, is summarized in the planner's report, as well as one submission after the report provided directly to council members and will be available on the municipal website in the post-meeting agenda.
Okay, and there are copies of the letter received after at the back of the room. Anybody interested? Yeah. Okay. Before I open the floor to questions from the public, please be advised that if any person from the public wishes to receive further information on the action of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment, please ensure that they leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. I will, at this time, open the floor to questions. Anybody online or here have any questions about this bylaw? A lot of head shaking. Okay, thank you. Nobody's online. Do council members or any member of the public have any further questions? And I guess council, this is your time to.
I have no questions. Reviewed the application, seems fine to me.
Yeah, not a question as much as a comment. Tracy's commented on site plan approval and that it's at the administrative level. I would just wonder if there's a way that we could have that site plan approval come to council, just because there is several concerns about it, just to ensure that the concerns are being met. But that's just for the site plan approval, nothing to do with the application.
Planner Tracy, are you still with us?
Yes.
I'm going to let you address the point that Councillor Pemberton made.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the provincial government has made it a requirement that you delegate authority to the CAO, and we do have a delegation bylaw. But it is certainly up to council, if you wanted to change that. I believe you have that ability.
Yeah, so just to clarify on that, I'm not looking to take away the delegation authority. I just, prior to it being signed off, it'd be nice that council receives it for information to assure the concerns have been addressed, just because there have been several concerns made. I've received several phone calls for it and things like that. So it's more of just a FYI than asking us to approve it, just so that we can kind of look at it and say, okay, and we can answer questions to people that have had concerns. Yes, they've been met. This is how they've been met, so that we're kind of kept in the loop on it. That's all.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, an information report is possible, just as long as council understands that it's not a statutory public meeting. We don't notify any of the neighbors. There's no requirement for that. So we could certainly bring you a report once we get closer to the approval part, where we have all the final applications deemed complete and the support studies.
Okay, Councillor Pemberton. Okay. Very good. Anything further from council? Nobody? If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing to further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment should leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk, should request a copy of the decision, since it may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant or another member of the public. The last day to appeal is April 17th, 2024. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZBA 09/23, 1 Lyons Road, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, Dutton and District Lyons Nonprofit Housing Incorporated, dated March 27, 2024, for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 09/23 for property located at 1 Lyons Road from Exception Village Residential 2-1 Zone to Exception Village Residential 2-5 Zone, and to further amend the Exception Village Residential 2-1 Zone in accordance with the site-specific bylaw. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. This public meeting is now concluded.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulard, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 09/23 filed by Dutton and District Lyons Nonprofit Housing Incorporated for property located at 1 Lyons Road closes at 5:45 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
It's a done deal. You're welcome to hang around. It gets more exciting.
Hey, who said that?
No worries. Yeah, I have a different
Yes.
Okay.
Take care. Okay. It's a big deal for the Lions, so let me get orientated here. Okay, we now will go into a committee of adjustment. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the regular meeting end to sit as a committee of adjustment hearing to hear application file MV 01/24 filed by Alvin Martin on behalf of Dave Stevens at 5:46 PM. All in favor? And that's carried. And moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for Minor Variance Application File MV 01/24 filed by Alvin Martin on behalf of Dave Stevens opens at 5:46 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we will adopt the previous minutes from March 22, 2023. A whole year ago, those minutes were included. Are there any changes requested? I see none. The minutes will be adopted as presented to council. I will call this Committee of Adjustment hearing to order. This application for a minor variance pursuant to Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, as amended, is required for the following reasons. To request relief from Section 12.1.3 of the zone provision to decrease the minimum interior side yard depth from the required 1.5 meters to 1.2 meters for the north side of the property. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning the proposals? Clerk Tara, what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
A sign was posted on the subject property prior to the March 15th, 2024 deadline, and notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters of the subject property prior to the March 12th, 2024 deadline.
Okay, thank you. I will now introduce our planner, Tracy, to give your report.
Thank you very much. So this is a minor variance application submitted by the applicant on behalf of the owner. So the little background on that is that the applicant sold the property to the current owner, and this was a commitment that they agreed to rectify. Essentially what happened is they constructed a 3-season room, and it was without permission. And what it did is it connected an accessory structure and the main structure. So the accessory structure is now no longer accessory, it's now main. So really nothing changes on the ground. That garage is what needs relief now because it is part of the connected buildings, and it's now becoming the main. And the main has a greater setback than an accessory. So that's the purpose of the application. So it's a side yard setback reduction for just the north side from 1.5 meters to 1.2 meters. Now, 60 meters of the subject property are notified, and also commenting agencies and departments. There were no concerns or no comments and no letters received in advance. So when you take into consideration a minor variance, there are 4 tests that you have to pass, and you have to pass all 4, not just some of them. So just focusing on the 4 tests, the relief does not contravene the OP. It's designated residential, and that's what its use is. It does not contravene with the zoning bylaw. Third is the proposed relief does not cause any concerns with privacy or abutting properties. The garage is existing, so that side yard setback is already there. The only difference is that it's now connected. And then fourthly, the building test is, does it affect the characteristic of the area? And in my opinion, it does not. And the proposed relief is considered minor. So administration is recommending that the application be approved by the Committee of Adjustment as it's been assessed for appropriateness and it does follow the 4 tests of a minor variance. So there is an appeal period, but odd to the new planning act is that there's no third-party appeals for a minor variance application. That was Bill 23. So happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you for your report. Is the owner present? Do you have anything you would like to add at this time?
Just the agent for the.
Okay. Okay, and you don't wish to add anything to the report, Alan?
Submitted the written report, but I'm assuming that.
Okay, thank you. Do the committee members have any questions on the planning report? I see none. Does the secretary treasurer have any comments from staff?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Does the secretary treasurer have any written submissions on this application?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Okay, thank you. Are there any persons present who were notified of this meeting and would like to comment on this application? See anybody? Okay. Clerk Tara, I think we are ready for the decision.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Minor Variance MV 01/24, 173 Peter Street, Alvin Martin, applicant, on behalf of Dave Stevens, owner, dated March 27th, 2024 for information, and that the Committee of Adjustment for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves minor variance application MV 01/24 for property located at 173 Peter Street in accordance with the site-specific decision sheet attached to the minutes of this meeting. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Please be advised that the last date for appealing this decision is April 16, 2024. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the committee in respect of this application, you must submit a written request to the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich Committee of Adjustment. If you are not the applicant, you should request a copy of this decision since it may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant or another member of the public. This Committee of Adjustment meeting is now concluded. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that the meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to hear minor variance application file MV 01/24 filed by Alvin Martin on behalf of Dave Stevens closes at 5:54 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the regular meeting reconvenes at 5:54 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Okay. Everyone good to carry on here? Okay. Just trying to get my bearings here. We are at number 10, I believe, on your agenda, the other staff reports, and it's a Cenotaph project update. Is there any questions, comments from council on that, or if the members of the Cenotaph committee want to add to that?
I think I do it. It's pretty straightforward. A little bit of money yet to raise, but coming along pretty good, I think.
Okay.
Sorry. We don't need extra microphones that way.
Okay, nothing further on that. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Recreation and Administration titled Cenotaph Project Update dated March 27, 2024 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And item 11, it's unfinished business, and I think what the discussion needs to be in order to get staff direction, and it's basically concerning industrial lands. So I'm going to open the floor. Everybody comment on that, and we'll get some direction to staff on where we're going with this. Councillor, Deputy Mayor Loveland, you want to start?
Sure. Turn my mic on it. I'm not in favor of putting development charges on industrial land. I think if something comes along, we got to be competitive with our neighbors, and I think that's would be a factor that may make it more difficult to attract industry. We may never get anything anyways, but if we put it in and we waive it, it's similar to the Lions Club proposal where we got to bring that money out of our current year's budget. So I'm still concerned that we're going to slow development down quite a bit with development charges now that I hear that we may have educations coming along as well. So that's my comments.
Okay. Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Deputy Mayor Loveland. I'm opposed to the industrial development charges. Most of our neighbors don't have them. As a matter of fact, Southwold doesn't do commercial or industrial, and we're only asking for the industrial. Developers that own lands in Southwold actually have it on their website promoting the fact that they don't have development charges to help sell their lands. So I think we'd be doing ourselves, as much as I'd like to see the money coming in from it, I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice to put that on there. So that's my stance on it.
Councillor Goulart.
Yeah, I also learned that one of the developers for industrial land is advertising that and on their website. And it makes me concerned that we won't be competitive as far as industrial goes. And like Deputy Mayor Loveland said, perhaps it's never coming anyway, but I would like us to be in the position to have it, because what it will generate for what an industrial development would generate for our community would be significant.
Okay. I'm going to ask staff to offer any comments or recommendations at this time. Planner Tracy?
My only comment is, what council has already stated, it's how you want to be competitive and how you want to promote it. I personally feel that DCs for industrial would help recoup some of the expenses that council will be facing with respect to left-hand turn lanes and possibly intersection improvements at Curry and Pioneer, and a new contribution toward the 401 left-hand turn lane off the exit. So there is a lot going on in that area of the municipality, and if it's not the DCs, then of course general levy will end up paying for any of those roadway improvements.
Okay, thank you for your comments. CAO Tracy, I'll let you wade in as well.
I agree with Tracy. We are going to have a huge shortfall on all this development, but I also agree with what councillors have said and Deputy Mayor that, we need to be basically the same as Southwold. They're our neighbors. And the one thing we have is industrial is a bigger tax levy. So you are going to get increase in taxes if you get industrial here. So, I mean, those are the two things I agree, like, are positives out of that. So it's a hard decision whether it detours them or not. But I mean, those are just my thoughts anyway. So.
Okay, I'll just offer my thoughts. I support DCs on industrial land, but it'll be the will of council that'll prevail. I was hoping Henry logged in or would log in, but he's not here. So we need to give council or staff direction on this one as they prepare the bylaw. Clerk Tara, do we need a resolution or just a consensus from council here on this?
I think we'll just be looking for direction in the minutes.
Okay, well, I think it's quite clear. It's 3 councillors that don't want DCs on industrial land. So that's the direction. Tracy, is that all you need at this point?
It's actually me that needs it. It's actually me that needs it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I said Tracy.
That's okay.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's council's
Okay.
decision. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you. Just tying up loose ends here.
Just to clarify,
Thanks,
We-
Tracy.
we will have DCs on commercial, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's keep going here. Any new business?
Yes.
Okay.
Couple things. I sent council some pictures of the roof because they got up there and started tearing things apart. So, I brought a report last meeting that we were going to be under budget, but I think we're going to be back up to our original budget. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that they found a lot more problems up there than they thought. So we're back up closer to our $200,000 estimate. Couple things, I just want clear, so I'm going to be doing, bringing the budget next meeting for public open house. So I'll be preparing a presentation. I just want a couple things clarified. Are we leaving that $50,000 transfer to reserves in or not? Or would you wish to take that out? At this time? Just a clarification before I start, doing the presentation.
Let's go around the table on that one. Deputy Mayor Loveland.
I think I'd like to leave it in and see how the public takes that increase. I mean, that's something we can almost reconsider after the public portion if we have to, but I think it's time we start putting a little more money away.
I second what Deputy Mayor Loveland says.
Councillor Drouillard.
Super easy when you go last. I also support that. When you always go last, it's really easy, or sometimes not as easy. But yeah.
I'll be the naysayer on that. It's a step too far for me, but you have your direction from council.
Guess that was really unfinished business, but no.
Okay. Are there any announcements? See nothing. We are down to the bylaws. Dr. Tara.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2023-43 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation in the amount of $487,400 for the improvement of the Gilroy drain be read a third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
As you're ready, just keep on going.
Okay, this one, I just want to add that it's a housekeeping. We got the retention period updates, so we're just bringing forward the new bylaw. Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drouillard, that bylaw 2024-10 being a bylaw to establish a schedule of retention periods for records in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Drouillard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-11 being a bylaw to appoint a fire chief be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Just this, sorry, Chair, I just have to say, I text Jeff and said, you're officially the fire chief. I said, you can't back out now. And he said, well, you did try and warn me. So he's happy anyways.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2024-12 being a bylaw to establish various fees and tariffs for services provided by the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drouillard, that bylaw 2024-13 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-50 for a parcel of land municipally known as 1 Lions Road be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. And finally, moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-14, being a bylaw to authorize execution of the contribution agreement for the commemorative partnership program agreement, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. And this is for the cenotaph. All in favor? And that's carried. Would you like me to go ahead and read close?
Yep, let's, let's go with it.
Okay. All right, for closed session, moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:07 PM in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001, Chapter 25, for discussion of the following matters. A, labor relations or employee negotiations, section 2392D of the Municipal Act for the CAO treasurer. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, you tell us when you're good to go. I should have spoke to her.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-15, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. You go ahead. All right, moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 6:40 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.